Hey guys, so last assignment didn't go so hot, and I spent a little time trying to figure out why before I actually talk to you. So I've done a little time work, and so I'd like to do a couple things. I'd like to go over a couple of the problems that people had problems with, but it looks like there wasn't a set of problems that caused people particular grief. It was just a little bit of problem throughout the assignment. And I think there may have been some problems in approach. And that's really what I want to focus on because here these problems, particularly in chapter one, they are not going to be often the type of problem where, oh, I see a problem just like it and then just ape the approach. Oftentimes, you're going to have to look and think through some other things here. So just things to think about here. But I want to make sure I'm just a little surprised with both the time invested, probably not enough for this assignment, and um, and also kind of what you could have done with your time. Okay, so the times on this assignment varied from just under an hour to just under 2 hours. Bear in mind this assignment is basically half a week's worth of work. Now, in half a week, we'd ordinarily show up for class for 2 hours, and then there would be homework, and it could be anywhere from 2 to 6 hours outside. So, this problem set, this being an online class, typically only takes, um, has no face-to-face component. You would expect assignments to take anywhere between 4 to 8 hours to complete. That's not really unusual. So one thing you may need to do is budget time for that. Well, I'd like to go over then a couple problems just to kind of show how I would approach them here. So the first one would be number 2, and the next one would be number 7. And both those seem to have 7 and 8 and 9 all had this. One person got pretty much correct, one person got partial credit, and 2 people didn't really even attempt the problem. And only on number 9 should that not be too surprising. Number 9 didn't have some of the features I'm going to show you. Okay? But all the other problems did. So let's go look at these problems. I'm going to go into homework mode. I've given you an extension on this assignment, so it's now due not until Friday. The next assignment and the quiz that goes with it are not due until Monday night at midnight. So if you're going to have some time to work on the weekend, fine, you can work then. If you don't, then you might want to try to plan to get things in before the end of this week. Okay? Anyway, so we go to this assignment here, and the second question is the one I wanted to make you aware of. Okay? So you're working on this answer about matchstick squares. First of all, it helps to have a picture to look at. It says click on the icon to view. There's this picture of it. You can choose to print it if you have a computer that has printing, but they're asked about how many squares. So it says, note, the first one has, not how many matchsticks, but how many squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. The next one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 squares. And the next has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And so you notice that basically each one of these crosses in the sequence is made by adding a square on each point of the original cross. That says 4 points, 4 squares added. So it's always just 4 more than the previous arrangement. 4 more squares than the previous arrangement. Okay? So that's the pattern you were to look for. And so the 10th figure will take how many squares to build? Well, let's just go in to paint. Okay, and I'm just going to give myself something to write with. Okay, so our first item in the set had 5 squares. The next is always 4 more squares. So this is an arithmetic sequence because it's always about adding to the previous number. So the second is 9. The third is 13. And so on. And you can keep counting up. That's one way to get that answer for the 10th. Or you can always realize that your answer for the nth item, well, it's just always 4 times n plus 1. 4 times 1 plus 1 is 5. 4 times 2 is plus 1 is 9. 4 times 3 plus 1 is 13. 4 times 4 plus 1 is 17. Okay? That always ends up being the case. So you can find the 10th quickly rather than having to count up by saying, gosh, it's 4 times 10 plus 1, or 40 plus 1, or 41. So there is the 10th item in the list is 41. It'll take 41 squares to build it. Let's check our answer. Nice work, it says. Okay? And then the next thing, the nth square in the figure will take, and then we just go back to the idea we figured out 4n plus 1. Let's see if that's correct. Nice work. The nth figure will take how many matchsticks to build? Now we have to start figuring out the pattern again. So let's look at the picture again. Okay? So the first took 4 matchsticks for the center, plus 3 for each point on the cross. There's 12 total. So it took a total of 16 matchsticks to build the first one. Okay? And then what do we get to get the second one? Well, we have to have 3 sticks on each point of the cross to make the second figure. Add 3 sticks on each point of the cross. So the second, you just add 12 matches. To get 28 matches. The third, you again add 12 matches to get 40 matches, and so on. So basically what you do, you always get the next step by adding 12. So now let's figure out as something times n plus something else. Okay, so we might try 5n plus 1. That looks like a good thing to try. So 5 times 1 is 15, plus 1 is 16. It works here. 5 times 2 is 30, plus 1. That's not going to work. So let's maybe try something. How about 4n? That's, or excuse me, 5n, 15n. Ugh, I'm sorry. I totally messed up. Ignore the last minute, okay? So we try 15n plus 1 works, but 15n plus 1 does not work here. So then maybe try something, 12n plus 2. Does that work here? 12 times 2 is 24, plus 2 is 26. No, that doesn't work. How about 13n plus 3? Well, that would be 60. 2 times 13 is 26, plus 3 is 29. That's a little bit over. How about 12n plus 4? 12 plus 4 works here. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 4 equals 28. Ooh, we have a pattern that works the first two. How about for the third? 3 times 12 is 36, plus 4 equals 40. So it looks like 12 times your n plus 4 is the pattern that works on all 3 of these. Note I didn't have a formula or a procedure to go through and found it. I did some trial and error and looking for a pattern. And that's how I got 12n plus 4. Okay, let's check the answer. Excellent. Okay, now at this point there are some things I want to point out to you. First of all, that I could go on, if I felt like I may be lucked into that, I could go through a similar exercise by hitting this similar exercise button. Another thing, if I am absolutely stumped on how to solve this, there is the view an example button and the video button and the textbook all should help. But view an example is often the quickest one. And so note that 4 squares, okay, determine how many match 6 squares it will take to build the 12th figure. First use a few figures to find a pattern. 4 were added to obtain the second figure, 4 squares added to obtain the third, and so it keeps talking you through this. Okay, and they have some idea about sketching it and finding it, and so they show you how they would do the problem until it gets to the point where they've come up with a pattern. In this case, the example they've got up here, it's 10n plus 6. That's 10x plus match 6 matchsticks. Okay, now is that what we got? That wasn't quite what we got, because they got different numbers of matchsticks, I think, in the figures. Am I right? Yeah, they're building a different figure. They're not building the cross anymore. They're building this little figure here. Okay, I think. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. Okay, so they've changed up the problem, showed you how to do it. Okay, showed you the approach. Okay, and then if you want to help me solve this, you can have it talk you through and have you fill in the blanks, and it will help you figure out a problem that way. Okay, so those are the options you have. And so when I'm seeing blanks on a couple of yours in the last 5 problems, and only one of them didn't have these options on it, that sort of bothers me, because that should have been something you should have been able to go to. Another thing I didn't hear is I didn't get any phone call said, boy, or any email saying, boy, I'm having problems with such and such a problem, with problem 2 on the homework, say. Okay, so those are things you also have at your disposal is calling me and just looking for help. So it probably, to get through these assignments, will take more time, first of all. And with that extra time, some of the options, hopefully you've read the textbook. Hopefully you've read the chapter video. This problem actually has a problem video. You've maybe had it talk you through the help me solve this. And then you've gone through and tried to do the problem yourself, gone through and maybe asked me. You can either ask my instructor will send me an email, or just send me an email to the address, out of your account. Okay, but all those things are options to work. And what I really shouldn't see is problems where the assignment was worked on for roughly an hour, and then whatever was wrong was left wrong, and whatever was blank was left blank. Okay, that should probably not be happening. The other thing I can do is try to get you guys to exchange each other's emails, if you will, or maybe start a discussion board for each chapter. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put in a chapter 1 discussion board, just so you guys can go to that and ask each other questions. But that might get used by one person and ignored by the other 3. So I also want to encourage you guys to exchange phone numbers, exchange emails, and just get to where you are talking about these problems a little bit more. Because leaving an assignment so blank and just giving up without any fight is just not going to be good enough. I, in addition, am going to call most of you tonight, just try to talk to you a little bit about, okay, how'd you approach the assignment, and just ask some questions and make sure there's nothing I am missing. I hope this helps. Go back and work on this assignment. You have till Friday to get it done to the point where it's complete. And I'm really encouraging you to go up for all the way to 100%. All right?